In 1936, Marge Piercy was born into one family among millions who were significantly affected by the Great Depression. After her father lost his job, the family moved to Detroit, where her father found work installing and repairing heavy machinery at Westinghouse. They moved into a smaller house in a working-class neighborhood that was segregated into white and black blocks. In elementary school, the German measles and rheumatic fever nearly took Piercy's life. Nonetheless, she recovered, and her childhood was a fairly pleasant one. She found pleasure in reading and was enamored by her cats. Piercy's maternal grandmother was an avid storyteller and, like her mother, was raised Jewish. Piercy described her mother as an emotional, imaginative woman full of odd lore and superstitions. Her mother was a profound reader, and Piercy was inclined to be one as well. Her mother encouraged her to be a keen observer of the world around her. She can also be credited for initiating Piercy's life as a poet. Piercy's bond with her mother was much stronger than that of her father, though she fought with Mrs. Piercy a lot during her adolescent years. She moved out of the house in 1953 at the age of 17. In that same year, Piercy won a scholarship and became the first person in her family to go on to college. She attended the University of Michigan. She was intrinsically motivated to learn and was a strong test taker. Piercy found college to be quite manageable in terms of academics, but the social aspect was not so easy. She wasn't the cookie-cutter image of a woman from the 50s because of her atypical ambitions and views on sexuality. She managed to get through college with her winnings from several Hopwood Awards, but she was very poor after leaving her first husband because of his conventional ideas of sex roles and his disregard for her writing. She took on various jobs after the divorce when she moved to Chicago, having graduated with an MA at Northwestern. Yet she was invisible as a woman in society and as a writer. None of her novels were published, but she continued to have an interest in writing about politics and about women in the working class who were not as cut and dry as society defined them. Piercy married again in 1962 into an unusually open relationship with a computer scientist. They never stayed in one place for long. They moved from Cambridge to San Francisco to Boston to Brooklyn. Piercy and her husband were both upset about the Vietnam War at the time, and although she continued to write, the feminist viewpoints in her works continued to deter publishers. She was actively involved in the women's movement as well, but her husband felt as if he was being pushed aside. In 1971, the couple moved to Cape Cod, a drastic change from the city life. Feeling healthy and liberated, she began gardening and found herself more socially adjusted. The relationship with her second husband didn't last, however. In 1982, she married yet again to a man named Ira Wood, who supported her and wrote a novel with her, which was eventually published. Her poetic style changed after living on the Cape as well. She had a better sense of herself and of the world around her. In her poems, she showed her appreciation for the things life handed her and exposed her views on the things life had not. Piercy has published 17 volumes of poetry and 17 novels, with many of her works very emotional and addressing social concerns. Her poem, Barbie Doll, is one of many works discussing women's issues and the ways in which women have been portrayed as inferior about their bodies and their minds. She and Ira continue to live in Cape Cod today and run the Leapfrog Press.